Crestview Properties Pty Limited is a real estate firm with a sizable portfolio of industrial buildings. Its daily operations are controlled by one person, Daniel Reed, the sole managing director. But Daniel's power has a strict limit. Buried in Crestview's internal corporate constitution is a rule stating that while Daniel can negotiate leases, he must secure board approval before selling any company land. Enter Samantha Eng, a commercial investor looking to buy one of Crestview's storage facilities. Daniel conducts their negotiations entirely from Crestview's corporate office. He sends her correspondence on official company letterhead, and eventually he signs a written sales agreement using the title Managing Director, Crestview Properties Pty Limited. Weeks later, Crestview halts the transaction. The board never approved the sale, and the company argues that without that approval, Daniel lacked the actual authority to sell the property. Samantha sues. Her argument is that Daniel's title and position inherently gave him the authority to bind the company to the contract, regardless of what the board intended. This creates a direct conflict in agency law. We have to determine who absorbs the financial loss when a company's hidden internal rules clash with its outward public-facing actions. To resolve this, lawyers and judges do not rely on intuition. They use IRAC. IRAC is a standardized analytical framework that translates a chaotic set of facts into a strictly binary legal outcome. This matrix consists of 4 stages: issue, rule, application, and conclusion. We begin entirely in the first step. We need to distill the raw facts of the dispute into a single legal question. The issue is this: did Daniel Reed have the authority to bind Crestview to the land sale, despite lacking actual authority under the internal constitution? Pinning down this exact question is mandatory. The wording of the issue dictates exactly which legal principle we must pull into the second phase of our analysis. Moving into the rule stage of the matrix, we must address Crestview's defense. The company claims Daniel lacked actual authority. That claim is factually true, but legally irrelevant. Because Daniel lacked actual authority, the law requires us to test for apparent authority. Apparent authority is a doctrine that holds a principal liable for an agent's actions if the principal made it seem like the agent was authorized. This rule requires 3 elements. The first element is representation, sometimes called holding out. The principal, in this case Crestview, must make a representation to a third party that the agent has the authority to act on their behalf. The second element is reliance. The third party must actually rely on that specific representation when making their decision. The third element is detriment. The third party must alter their position or suffer a loss as a direct result of relying on that representation. By forcing the dispute through this 3-part test, the court ignores what Crestview privately intended in its constitution. Instead, the legal standard rests entirely on what Crestview allowed the public to reasonably perceive. We now advance to the application stage in our matrix. This is where we test the raw data from the dispute against the strict requirements of our rule checklist. We start with element 1. Did Crestview explicitly hold Daniel out to the world as having the authority to sell land? First, the company appointed him sole managing director, a title that inherently suggests broad executive power. Second, Crestview housed him in a physical company office, letting him conduct business from official premises. Third, they provided him with official company letterhead, a title, an office, and corporate stationery. These 3 facts cumulatively prove that Crestview, as the principal, explicitly represented Daniel to the public as their authorized agent. Element 1 is satisfied. Next, we test element 2 to see if Samantha Eng's reliance was legally valid. Samantha interacted with Daniel in a standard commercial setting. Crucially, the facts establish she had 0 knowledge of Crestview's secret board approval requirement. When an investor negotiates with a managing director inside corporate headquarters, assuming that director has the power to finalize a sale is an objectively reasonable commercial behavior. Samantha relied on Crestview's representation. Finally, we evaluate element 3 to determine if Samantha suffered a legal detriment. A legal detriment doesn't require immediate financial loss. When a party signs a written agreement, they lock into binding obligations and forego market opportunities. By signing, Samantha altered her position. Crestview argues that their internal constitution prevents this logic from taking hold. But a private constitution is exactly that, private. The application phase demonstrates that objective public presentation overrides secret internal restrictions. The law prioritizes protecting innocent third-party commerce over enforcing a company's internal miscommunication. Looking at this fully populated matrix, we step back to view the deduction process and enter the final stage, the conclusion. Because the facts prove representation, reliance, and detriment, the test for apparent authority is fully satisfied. Therefore, Daniel's actions are legally valid. The consequence is severe. Daniel's signature binds the company to the land sale exactly as if the board had voted to approve it. The verdict is clear. Crestview's refusal to close the deal is a breach of contract, and Samantha's lawsuit succeeds. This case exemplifies the core mechanics of agency law. The market cannot function if investors have to audit a company's hidden bylaws before signing a standard contract. By applying the IRAC framework, we isolate a strict rule of commercial law. Liability is dictated by how you present yourself to the world. If you outfit an agent with the trappings of power, your secret corporate rules offer no protection against an innocent third party.